in Soweto.
Yes. So talk to me about the hidden gem you have.
Wow, really. If we take tourists to the Trevino Mabotja in Soweto, the open hammer tower, you know what? People don't know that each and every tree that is at Trevino Mabotja now can cure each and every disease that
Yes.
Each and every bird that is at Trevino Mabotja is a migrant bird. Those birds, they
Sipho, we are absolutely struggling with your network, but with what you've shared about each and every plant there that you can find Soweto in what it sounded like Trevino Mabotja is what he said. I will definitely check that out and we'll be able to see, man, because yes, if you can grow your medicine, why not do that and grow your medicine? Another message says, hi Relebogile, I've been to Kahakama. It is amazing. I did not do open air like Melissa, but it was still amazing. Even the facilities were so good. That is from V. Guys, thank you so much for coming to chat to us. We're going to make sure that we tune in for another episode of Hidden Gems South Africa on BBC Lifestyle, DSTV channel 174 at 8 p.m. today with a repeat 5 p.m. tomorrow. Make sure that you head over and then you can go to the website bbcafricachannels.com/hidden gems for a chance to win a 10,000 Rand Lekker Slob voucher and the grand prize of 25,000 Rand at the end. Melissa and Teboho, while they're smiling together, they're actually in competition with one another. You need to go and vote and decide for yourself. 14 minutes to 2 o'clock.
If you're a fan of the beautiful game, you'll recognize this. And this. But what about this? It's your chance to score big time. Win your share of up to 2 million Rand with Standard Bank. It's game day every day. To enter, open and use any qualifying Standard Bank account, in-app or in branch. Already a Standard Bank customer? Sign up for Standard Bank Connect online to get a bonus entry. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
This Nando's ad is not an ad. Think of it as your personal reminder that today is Wednesday. So like a Wednesday reminder with a beautiful professional voice and music made specifically for you. Specifically to tell you that today you can get the Wednesday double drop deal from Nando's. That's 2 chicken burgers and sharing chips for only $1.49. Wow. Now that's something worth being reminded about every Wednesday.
Thank you.
Like an alarm clock, but for your stomach. Nando's. Oh, what a place. T's and C's apply.
It's time to get revved up. The Motor Select Rev Up sale is on, and we've got thousands of quality pre-owned vehicles at unbeatable prices. That's everything from city cars to 4x4s. Offer ends 30 June, so get to motorselect.co.za now.
In a world that is continuously evolving, Africa is adapting, innovating, and finding new pathways for growth. R&B Africa Focus is back for its 5th season to unpack the conversations shaping the continent right now. Every week on 702, award-winning journalist Crystal Alderson takes a closer look at influential economies and emerging opportunities across Africa with insights from R&B experts and regional voices. Catch R&B Africa Focus Thursday on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Make sure you watch the in-depth video series with episodes released weekly on Prime Media Plus. R&B, a leading African corporate and investment bank.
702 Finance Feature.
12 minutes to 2 o'clock. This finance feature is brought to you by STANLIB Asset Management. Invest in more. Now, how is asset management fundamentally different from simply saving it at a bank? Today in our finance feature, we are demystifying asset management and we find out why it is necessary. So we chat to Trevino Ramsamy, who is a deputy head of institutional distribution at STANLIB Asset Management right here on 702. Trevino, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be in studio today.
Trevino, please explain to us asset management. What is that term referring to, especially for anybody who's not familiar with it?
Yeah, when you hear it for the first time, it does sound a little bit complex and a little bit technical, but at its most simplest, asset management is professionals managing your money for you. It's basically enabling them to grow it over time and protecting it from large losses. Instead of you trying to figure out investment markets for yourself, what you're actually relying on is a team of experts who can invest in everything from shares to bonds and property and other investment asset classes. And the intent is to do this over a long term to secure either your retirement or your savings pot or your future nest egg.
So how is asset management fundamentally then different from just saving at a bank or making investments yourself? Because it also sounds like asset management's for rich people.
That's a good one. So firstly, straight off the bat, it's definitely not only for the wealthy. But before I get to that point, let me just talk about the difference between, saving and investing, because they're quite different, right? Saving is like putting your money in a bank account. It's about safety. It's about your short-term needs. It protects your money, but it doesn't really allow it to fully grow, right? There's no doubt that there's banking products that can do an exceptional job if you're looking for that. But asset management is more about long-term growth. It's about building wealth. It's, one of the big risks with saving is that inflation quietly eats away at your money over time. So even if your account balance goes up, your buying power actually goes backwards. I mean, the latest inflation numbers came out today, and it's an increase in inflation to around 4%. And as you can imagine, your purchasing power is reduced by, those various inflation numbers. And over time, you want to try to protect from that. So what asset management attempts to do is about building that wealth over time. And then just coming back to the question about whether it's only for wealthy people, certainly not. I mean, today there's democratized access to a range of products like unit trusts or retirement funds, which means that everyday South Africans can actually have access to professional asset management. And in fact, it's almost essential if you want to retire comfortably.
Okay, and I think, sometimes this terminology does go over a layperson's heads, hence it will feel like, well, that must be for rich people. So I'm so glad you explained it like that. So what can investors then expect from a skilled asset manager? So if we then come to an asset manager and I'm like, I want to grow, I want to protect my wealth, especially during these unpredictable economic times, what can I expect from that asset manager?
Well, at STANLIB, we believe that a good manager actually plays two functions. The first one, and I think this one is quite easily understood, is to grow your money, right? You're putting it with the manager to grow your money. But in addition to growing your money, you also want to protect it through tough times. Right? We all know what's been happening in the last 12 months with economic conditions, with geopolitical noise, with everything that's happening in the Northern Hemisphere, everything happening with the war in Iran. So, investing with a manager who's able to protect your money during difficult times is obviously very important. Asset managers have something called a fiduciary duty. Now, part of my job today is to not use big words without explaining it. So in its most simplest form, a fiduciary duty is a legal and ethical requirement to act in the best interests of our clients and not our own. And in practice, what does that mean? It means that we should be diversifying your investments in order to manage risk. It means that we stick to a long-term strategy even when markets are volatile. And volatile, once again, just another fancy word to say, markets go up and down, there's times of uncertainty. But as long as we stick to our investment philosophy and process, we should be able to, be reliant on an outcome over the long term. And then lastly, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, inflation is a real thing. So you want to choose a manager that can focus on delivering inflation-beating returns, because that's what actually builds wealth over time. And I think in conclusion to this question, I think discipline is extremely important. So an asset manager enables you to cut through the noise. And when markets get choppy and volatile and noisy, they actually help you to stay on track.
So in terms of some of the common mistakes that we make when markets are unpredictable, can you share with us what those mistakes are?
This is a funny one, because obviously I think we all went through COVID, and a lot of us were not able to act in the ways that worked best for us from an emotional perspective. And I think the similar applies in financial markets, right? Some of the biggest mistakes that we can make are emotional, right? People panic buy or sell when markets fall, And when obviously you sell when markets fall, you lock in losses, or they jump in and out investments based on flavor of the month, and they're trying to time the market. And as you know, as from empirical evidence, this is almost impossible. No one has a crystal ball. What we need to have is, a way of measuring and manage that risk. And people try to do this without the proper expertise. And that, it makes the unpredictability even more, pronounced. The truth is, the more reactive you are, the more likely you are to destroy long-term value.
Yeah, and I think that applies not just to money, just life in general, right? Just sometimes wait and see exactly what's going to happen and go down. So for a person that is listening today, what signals them that an asset manager is credible? Because obviously people get nervous. They hear so many horror stories about, but I trusted this person. But what do you check for that this person's credible, well-governed, and acting in the client's best interests?
I mentioned the word fiduciary care a little bit earlier. It's so important for us to ensure that we're putting our clients' best interests first. And the best way to do that is through regulation, right? So we need to first and foremost ensure that the asset manager of choice is properly regulated and governed. In South Africa, where financial markets, are some of the best in the world, this is well executed and well governed, and you want to choose a manager who adheres to these various regulations. The second thing is transparency. And I often use a cereal box as an example to explain this. If you look at the box and see what's on the outside of the box, you're expecting what's inside the box to be identical. And, if an asset manager is transparent and they explain clearly what they're doing and why they're doing it, it gives a lot of comfort to investors. The next one is a disciplined investment process, as well as it being consistent and repeatable. So being able to do this again and again and again through various market conditions and various market cycles definitely adds to credibility, and also gives you, comfort as the investor, that the asset manager, follows a very disciplined process, which is something that I highlighted a little bit earlier. And then lastly, bringing it back again to fiduciary care, we must always put our clients first. All investments.
And I think that, yes, and I think that is so important, like what you're saying about putting the clients first.
Absolutely. I was just going to conclude by saying investments carry risk. There's no way that's avoidable, right? But what a good choice asset manager will able to do is navigate you and your investments through that. What really matters is the asset manager respecting the responsibility that they actually have and managing the risk that you've asked them to manage for them.
Thank you so much for chatting to us, Trevino, today in our finance feature. Now we have a much better understanding around just asset management and what it's there for and how it can help all of us. Thank you so much for your time.
More isn't just a word. It is STANLIB Asset Management's commitment to doing better every day for our clients. It's about investing to create futures and delivering on our promises. It's about never giving up on better, because better starts with more. Reinvest in more to give investors data-led insights that transform, portfolios built for a changing world, and consistent performance you can trust. STANLIB Asset Management. Invest in more. STANLIB Asset Management is an authorized financial services provider.
702 Josie, my Josie Walk the Talk is calling on you to walk with the people, for the people, on Sunday, the 26th of July. And this year you can choose from 3 different inner city routes. The 8-kilometer 44 Main Street route takes you from Ellis Park through Maboneng and Jewel City, past the Field of Dreams and Maharishi Invincibility Institute. You then go through the Main Street precinct, Gandhi Square, and past the Carlton Centre, finishing off at Ellis Park. So whether you're taking on the 8K